What up, friends? I haven't been to one of them in years, and today we're going to be reviewing the Marías' debut album, Cinema. The Marías are an indie pop band based in LA, actually, with both Spanish and English lyrics thanks to lead singer María Zardoya's Puerto Rican descent. The Marías have got an interesting, chill, and very sensual aesthetic and sound to them. Not satisfied with just indie pop, they also add some very jazzy, soulful R&B inspired sounds to their projects, giving them a pretty unique aesthetic. This is true for their newest project, their debut album as well. It's a very tight and consistent listen, also very vibey, but with lush production and instrumentals that make it work. With Calling You Back, the very overblown instrumental weirdly fits a more low-key track like this. It has energy without being over the top, adding a lot to the very laid-back vocals and synths. The vocals here are chill, but have some fun inflections to them and almost reach like rap levels of cadence here and there, which is pretty entertaining. The simpler beat during the verses is also a pretty nice contrast to the fuller chorus, too. It is a breakup song, and the lead singers here are not feeling great. However, they can't seem to let go of their cockiness, which is possibly what made the breakup happen to begin with, so I thought that was a pretty interesting touch on the lyrics. There's a bit of a harder instrumentation on Hush, with deeper bass and more sinister vocals. That chorus has a very haunting energy, especially when the more muffled sounds are added to it. That guitar is very dirty and has some attitude to it, matching the cadence and the delivery of the lyrics. And this is present on some of the other songs on this record too, but I really like the dynamic between the male and female call and response vocals on the project as a whole. It's really well done on this track and the others too. They're subtle and they don't draw too much attention to themselves like other bands with this sort of dynamic, but it's very smooth all the same. There's definitely some R&B influences on All I Really Want Is You, along with maybe some like funk influences going on in the guitar as well. The dreamy soundscape created by the synth is great, and that chorus is just ethereal. The mini like solo that the guitar has during the end is also a pretty neat way of doing something different while not breaking up the vibe of the song. It doesn't make it sound disjointed, which is good. It's a very simple track, but also a very effective one, I think. Little by Little is by far my favorite track on this entire thing. This is like beyond smooth. Lo-fi influences in the drums, crystal clear harmonies, and some sensual Spanish lyrics like, I'm in love. And if it wasn't enough, that soulful and sultry pre-chorus, oh my god, it just flows so well. There's also a really nice progression from the verses to the pre-chorus and chorus. The way they like pull back some instruments, add some twinkly effects, like, this is a perfect song, bro. Bit of a switch up in heavy, making a bit more of an upbeat track that is very bass focused. This means it has a pretty nice groove to it, although weirdly it kind of reminds me of like a sitcom intro or something like that at times. There's a nice fuzzy little guitar solo on here, and I think this song definitely has more indie pop influences than the other tracks on the record. It is maybe a bit less intricate compared to some of the other songs, but it's not bad. It's still pretty good. Un Millón has a cool little moment where all the lyrics are in Spanish. However, it has by far the worst instrumental on the entire project. It's very much a Latin pop and reggaeton inspired instrumental. However, the lack of depth and sensual nature present on it really hinders it compared to some of the other ones on here. The simplistic beat and synth just don't have the same impact as the guitar and bass on the rest of the record. The lyrics do make up for this a bit, portraying a pretty endearing relationship as they visit spots in Puerto Rico, but I just wish the production was better. I really do. Spin Me Around has some psychedelic influences, especially in the lighter guitar and the sort of drowsy sounding vocals. It's a very pretty song with some pretty sultry imagery, like, seriously, Daisy, cherry, tattoo be looking tasty, like, goddamn. It's short, sweet, and to the point, and that's what I like about it. There's a dreamlike and dark aesthetic this time with the song The Mice Inside This Room, and it's almost like lullaby sounding in parts. It really feels like a sense of longing, like you want something but you just can't have it, you know? The chorus has a trance-like energy that kind of feels like love sickness that really fits the whole vibe that's going on with this one, especially when paired with the rest of the somber instrumentals on this track. It's pretty interesting how different this one feels compared to the rest of the songs on the record, but in a good way, unlike some of the other ones that I discussed previously. The melancholic vibes are real on To Say Hello, with cold imagery and quiet delivery on the lyrics. The chorus especially is pretty heart-wrenching. It's like you can actually hear her breaking as she says it. The instrumental is pretty low-key for the most part, although they make sure those billowing drums and synth come in for the chorus. This is especially prevalent on the bridge as well, and the synth strings on the last chorus are also a really nice flourish. I think it's probably one of the most poignant songs on the album if I had to pick one. Fog as a Bullet is a simple acoustic ballad all done in Spanish. I'm glad there weren't more of these on the record, to be honest, because this one has much more of an impact because it's the only one like it. The horns in the background are super elegant and fill the space nicely without overcrowding anything, which is really nice to see. It definitely feels like post-breakup, that's for sure. Now with Talk to Her, this is something that I really wasn't expecting going into this album. It's a spoken word jam session jazz tune. Like, what? Maria seems to be having a sort of existential crisis as she observes the world around her, thinking about how much easier life would be if she was just like an animal in a pasture, although then she realizes that those animals have their own set of problems. The chill beat and instrumental really give this track an ambient and natural feel. It's really different than anything else on the record. The piano is also super pleasant, and it's an odd yet also fitting conclusion to the album as a whole, I think. Now, I know that they had a few EPs before this, but this is a solid debut project. They seem to know their sound in and out, yet they still try to do some new things here and there. I do think it does get a bit samey in parts, and some of their experimentations like the reggaeton song don't always pan out. However, those are just minor problems in the grand scheme of things, really. I hope they just continue to put out quality stuff in the future and experiment even more. I'm feeling a strong 8 on the Marías' Cinema. Of course, we do have to talk about the album cover on this show, and this is just an excellent album cover. Really great sense of space. I love the color choices between the white, the red, and the black. Very white stripes. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But anyway, I really like her pose. It is very reserved and vulnerable at the same time. The delicate imagery of the swan and the simple yet provocative color scheming, it's great. The placement's great. Love this album cover. Fits the vibe perfectly. Of course, those were just my thoughts about the Marías' debut project. What do you guys think about it? Is this group something to watch? Are they kind of the up-and-comers of the year, maybe? Let me know. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell if you liked the video. Keep in touch with everything I do if you want. And until the next one, farewell.